Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom or Tom. How's it going?
Tony, the question in your voice when you said as always, not quite as always. We're here at Big Ten Media Days, the unofficial kickoff to the 2026 college football season. As always, there's a cast of dummies on this show. In this case, it's mannequins behind us, but, it works on multiple levels, Tony. I'll explain the other levels to you later.
Time if you can just move your head a little so people can see the Ohio State. There you go. Welcome, everybody, to Chicago. And while we are here on Tuesday, Ohio State doesn't show up until Wednesday, so I thought, it's an Ohio State-centric podcast. Let's still talk some Ohio State. And so I have 5 Ohio State predictions for you.
Okay.
We can discuss them. I'm not going to fire them all out at once. It's a very quick show. We're going to go one at a time and keep your eyes on your own paper, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
The first one here is Isaiah West will have a 100-yard rushing game. And do you know the last time multiple Ohio State running backs had 100-yard rushing games in the season? Because this kind of surprised me because it was not 2024 with TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
Right. Because I think we had talked about the fact that TreVeyon Henderson didn't have a 100-yard game in 2024. I'm going to say, was it 2022 when Dallin Hayden had a 100-yard game against Maryland and TreVeyon would have...
And also Mayan Williams.
Was that the year?
When they were piecemealing everything. So yes, 2022. What do you think about Isaiah West getting 100 yards this year?
I like that one because I think you've got, we have been talking about him a good bit recently and based on everything we're hearing from inside the program, he is expected to take on a pretty big role. Bo Jackson, it feels like he's going to do it. So you're going to get to 2 this year. I think I'm pretty confident of that. But I think Isaiah West is going to be someone who he's going to be probably about a 6 yards to carry back for them. And he's also got enough burst that he can break off a 40-yarder. He can break off break a couple 20s, whatever it is. You get yourself, you're averaging 6 yards a carry, and then you hit a big one. And boom, you get to 100, even if you're only getting 8, 10 carries. And I think there probably will be games where he's more in that 12 carries, maybe even 14 carries. 12 carries, you get 6 yards on 10 of your carries, and then you get 1 40-yarder, and boom, that's 100.
The problem is TreVeyon Henderson never had 10 carries in 2024 in a game.
Right.
So, and that was as almost even a 1-2 punch as Ohio State has had. But we also saw before that Mike Weber and J.K. Dobbins would do it when they. It's just interesting that it didn't happen in 2024 with a guy that could hit home runs like TreVeyon, where he might only need 8 rushes in a single game to get there. So I think it's going to happen fairly. I predicted it. So it will happen, but I don't think it's the shoe-in that you initially think. Like when you hear it, like, yeah, of course, why not?
Yeah, I think it's likely to happen because I think you're probably going to see a little bit more tempo from them. I think you're going to see. I think there's probably some lessons learned last year on that front. So I think you're going to see probably a few more snaps a game, which will help. That just at 3 more snaps, it gives you 1 more carry for one of the running backs. But also, I think the fact that Arthur Smith is calling the offense. I think Arthur Smith is. Brian Hartline as a wide receiver guy, he's going to be naturally a little bit predisposed to being a throw the ball guy. I think you're going to be coming back to a little bit more of a ground focus in that offense this year.
Prediction number 2, a little bolder. Ohio State safety Terry Moore will have at least 4 interceptions. The last time he was on the field was 2024. He had 4 interceptions. I expect him to be the free safety in this defense, the last line of defense, whether they want to call it a strong free, whatever, like the last guy, and more of the center fielder type. Now, the last time Ohio State had somebody with more than 2 interceptions in a season was, I think, Damon Webb in 2017. We had 5.
Yeah.
Other than that, the season later has been 2 for years, which is kind of crazy. So 4 interceptions for Terry Moore. This would be a 1-point hold prediction, I think.
Yeah, this is bold enough because even though if this was a bold prediction show, rest assured I would be harping on the fact that he did this literally the last time he played. So I do think though that it stops at some point being coincidence that guys have just not gotten that many interceptions. And it's, this is not the 1 year the secondary wasn't as good, or, they've had, the pass rush hasn't been there to force guys to get rid of the ball before they want to. 2019 was one of those seasons. That was one of the best pass rushes they've had. At 2018, they had a pretty good pass rush. Didn't do it that year. I mean, that's pretty interesting. That's one of those stats where I feel like you could sit down and do a whole show on why has this not happened. They come up with lots of different interesting hypotheses on that. But
ask Ryan Day on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Why can't you guys intercept passes? What's your problem?
Do it at the podium in the front of the room when he's on Big Ten Network. Ryan, what's wrong with you guys? What's wrong with your defense?
First question, how dare you?
No, I like this one. It's bolder than it sounds. It's well within the realm of possibility that it happens, but it's not, the Isaiah West one, I would say I expect it to happen. This is one that, I could absolutely see it happening.
How about this? Can you see this one happening? Devin Sanchez, first team All Big Ten, sophomore corner for Ohio State. Certainly going to have some competition from his own teammates. Oregon's got some good corners. Indiana's good. There's plenty of good corners around the Big Ten. So they only vote for 2 Big Ten corners and then 2 safeties. So to have him be first team All Big Ten, certainly that's why they recruited him. He didn't look like it last year, but no freshman does. So I'm saying this, I think this is bold because maybe it's a year early.
It does feel a year early. I think when we talked about expectations for him this year, I talked about him being a good season to be like second team All Big Ten. So this would be kind of obviously a step beyond that, but we've also talked about the way these awards get decided and how they get voted on. And the difference between Devin Sanchez being a second team All Big Ten and Devin Sanchez being a first team All Big Ten might be Devin Sanchez has an interception in the Texas game and runs it back for a touchdown, or makes, an incredible one-handed interception. And then the announcers spend a bunch of time talking about, the Texas kid from Houston, South Shore makes against his home state Longhorns, and just everyone's watching that game. And so everyone in the media and all the other coaches get this drilled in their head. Devin Sanchez, he's amazing. And then you don't watch every Ohio State game.
Right.
So if he plays well in the games where they are playing Oregon or playing Indiana, but you get that one in the beginning of the year. James Laurinaitis in 2007, six, they're playing at Texas. James Laurinaitis has a big game. Brent Musburger goes nuts, and all of a sudden, boom, James Laurinaitis is an All-American, I think first team All-American later in that season. I think history could repeat itself on that front. And, first team All Big Ten, I am absolutely not expecting it, but there's certainly a pathway for him to get there.
Yeah. You're right. The Texas thing, I mean, I've said it before, if they just had Brent Musburger calling one of the early games, it worked for Andy Katzenmoyer. Not that he needed it, but certainly worked 20 years ago for James Laurinaitis. And he's going against, if he shows up and shuts down Cam Coleman, that's going to catch some eyeballs.
That can be one of those graphics they put up at the beginning of the game, matchups to watch, and that'll be on College Game Day. Is going to talk about Cam Coleman against Devin Sanchez and Jermaine Matthews, and you win that one, that goes a long way to setting the narrative.
And then the next week against Kent State's wide receiver, Josh
Cribbs.
So All Big Ten. We will see. Next one, Tom, maybe not as bold. Jeremiah Smith will win the Biletnikoff Award, maybe perhaps as a career achievement award.
They have the Biletnikoff Award right over there. I'll spin the camera around for people watching. They have a wall of trophies. If you want to see the Biletnikoff Award podium up there, I did a behind the scenes video walking around there. You can find that on our YouTube channel. But the Biletnikoff Award itself was not up there because someone had stolen it, much, Tony, as it was stolen from Jeremiah Smith last season.
And the year before. So that's why I'm saying, finally, even if he has to Ocean's 11 this thing, he's going to walk away with the Biletnikoff Award. And, I think Marvin Harrison when he won it, it was a little bit of a kind of a sorry for not letting you, giving it to you the year before when you had earned it as well. So, this is one of those things where it's a quantum leap, trying to put that past right, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it feels like the Biletnikoff Award winners, for whatever reason, are constantly it's like the BCS where they kept changing the formula every year to fix whatever was wrong last year. The Biletnikoff Award is constantly trying to correct the miscarriage of justice that happened the previous year. So yes, it is now probably Jeremiah Smith's time. And you have to hope this is not like the Heisman where the voters get bored with people and it's like, well, we've talked about you for years. I want something new and shiny. And I think this is, he certainly is going to have the opportunity. We're sort of projecting a step forward from Julian Sayin this year. He's going to have plenty of big platform games to do it in. He needs to, this is another one where you have a big game against Texas. If you don't have a big game against Texas, you're not going to get any votes from the Southern voters on that one, because then the narrative will be, well, he had one catch for 3 yards against Texas and in the Cotton Bowl, and then whatever he had last year, it was like
4 for 56,
something like that. And well, if Jeremiah Smith played in the SEC, he would be the 17th best receiver in the conference. As you see, when they have to play real competition, and you've been online, you know who I'm talking about. It's again, this is one of these, like, I can break this down statistically for you, or I can show you how the sausage is made. And this is how the sausage is made. If Jeremiah Smith has a big game against Texas at the beginning of the season, then the SEC people will have to say, well, all right, well, if he has a big game and Cam Coleman doesn't, that will go a long way towards swinging. So, if Devin Sanchez has a really good day, he could impact 2 of these predictions for yours.
Well, and we know Texas has designed their entire defense twice to basically stop him, which does not convince anybody that he's as good as he is. They're just looking at the stats. But that game is going to be an opportunity for the Southern voters to dismiss him if he's contained. Also, I think maybe for the voters themselves, you do have some who are like, isn't that the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voters? Like, I've never voted anybody yet, first time or whatever. They just have their own quirks. But to go 3 years and never vote him as the Biletnikoff winner would be like an embarrassing thing, I think, for the entire organization.
Yeah, it's one where you kind of look back. There are some awards like that. I'm trying to think of a good example right now and not coming up with one off the top of my head. But, you have in your mind that so-and-so won the Heisman Trophy or so-and-so won the, Big Ten Player of the Year. And it was like, no, actually that year they gave it to, and it's like, who? What? Well,
like Ezekiel Elliott was never an All-American.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Won the Sullivan Award as the nation's best
amateur athlete. Yes.
But
yeah.
So I think it's time. The last one here, Tom. Quay Saw, Ohio State defensive end transfer from Alabama, will have a 2-sack game. Now, do you know how many sacks he has in his career?
Something like 6.5?
2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James Smith had 6.5.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
He's had 1 each season. So not only am I saying he's going to double his season total high in one game, he's going to match his career output in one game. And I'm not talking no soft 1.5 sacks, 2 sacks for Quay Saw. And if this happens, I think that would certainly be, it's, I don't know, Tom, if he's one of the top 3 or 4 defensive ends, to say any one of those guys getting 2 sacks in the game, any particular game, yes, that's bold.
Yes.
In any game, I think it's a little bold.
So you are trying to sell me on something that I've been selling you on all off season. So this is not a hard sell for me.
You're saying it's super bold.
I'm saying I am diamond hands on the Quay Saw stock to the moon. It is, I am extremely high on what he can be. And I'm not saying he's going to have 12 sacks this year, but I think he's going to have a season where you see him constantly, and odds are, at some point that turns into a 2-sack game. I think there will be 5 or 6 games where he has 1 sack, and odds are one of them that turns into a 2-sack game. So this is one where I don't know how many guys have 2-sack games, like actually not 1.5, but 2-sack games. JT Tuimoloau, I know, did that against like Penn State, for example. But Jack Sawyer, did Jack Sawyer ever have a 2-sack game? Maybe. But I think that's one where people would be surprised if you went back and looked at some of the like really good Ohio State defensive ends over the years. How many of them probably have not done that? Chase Young, yes. JT Tuimoloau, yes. I saw you're looking at Caden Curry. He did it against Washington. Yeah. Oh, okay. 3 times last year. Yeah. But I think that's one of those things where it doesn't happen as often as you would think. But I think This is one where I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think there is a reasonable possibility that happens this year.
Yeah, and JT Tuimoloau did it twice in 2024. Did not do it in 2023. Did it once in 2021. And Jack Sawyer, bringing him up real quick, did it, I don't know, maybe against Texas? Okay, Oregon.
Oh, against Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Okay.
And, three against Missouri. Tom, do you remember that Cotton Bowl against Missouri?
Yeah, I got to tell you, the defense was not what sticks out in your memory from that Cotton Bowl against Missouri. Well, that's probably unfair because they were extremely good for 3 quarters and then ran out of gas.
So there you go. 5 predictions. Let us know what you think. Go ahead and throw your own predictions in the comments. We'd like to see those. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. Of course, continue to find us at BuckeyeInsiders.com. And this week, we are here at Big Ten Media Days. We're going to have a bunch of stuff that we're only putting on Buckeye Insiders on the site there. If you want to follow more, you can find us there. Sign up now. It is the absolute best way to support what we do. So that will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.